Well, this question has to do with a quick tip that we did 462, not too long ago actually. If you remember that, we did a sequence of quick tips about my process of working as requested by actually several people. But anyway, back to this one. This person says, wonder why there was a drawing for step 1 and then a separate drawing for step 2. Can't 1 and 2 be combined? And goes ahead and says, I guess he misses out something on distinction. Okay, I'm going to clarify that. Well, from people that are just getting into painting or people that have been in it for a while, I get this misunderstanding more than anything else. And that is the benefit of drawing. Why draw? People struggle with drawing. Why is that? Why is that some of you find drawing so difficult? And I just think it's because maybe nobody's shown you the possibilities there and what drawing can actually give you in the way of your whole development as an artist. Now, I've developed here just 3 categories of what drawing can do. One is explore and discover. One is for placing images on the canvas. And one is just for creating the artwork, just for making a drawing for the sake of drawing. Well, people don't seem to have any trouble with 2 and 3. This one, exploring and discovering, that's where people get tricked up. It's really difficult sometimes to understand what's the benefit of exploring and discovering images. Well, the benefit is a big payoff, but you have to experience it like everything else. You have to experience it to really know. So I want to guide you just a little bit on this step 1 I did on a couple of ways that you can go about exploring with drawing without getting all bogged down in it. You don't have to create an artwork just to draw for the sake of drawing or draw for the sake of finding out stuff about images is good enough. And you don't have to be headed for a painting in order to draw. But it's always so much fun and it does so much for you as an artist just to find stuff out about images. And the best way we can do that is with drawing. That's the tool we painters have. Well, we all artists have that tool. It's just that we have to learn how it works. So I have 2 little exercises I'd like to show you. I've shown you these before in various ways, but I'm just going to isolate these 2 ways of approaching drawing, maybe to help you to get into just exploring, just finding out about images. You'll be surprised the payoff. Now, the first one is when we look at an image, we too often will assume, okay, that's a bird. Draw a head, draw a body, draw the tail, and you got a bird. Not. It's true. The bird has a head, it has a body, it has wings, it has a tail. But 2 things. One, a bird can be in many, many positions, as can every live thing. And we can be in many positions. We can be looking at the bird from one side or another, from the back or from the front. So we've got 2 things there. One, where are we and what are we seeing? 2. So one thing that we can look for to just begin to kind of analyze what is it that we're seeing. One thing we can look for is what we call visual movement, the broad visual movement. And that is which way are things going. Now you can see here, and you can really take your finger and trace that in the air. I call that phantom drawing, one way of phantom drawing. When you just take your finger, and if you're on a photograph such as I am here, it's really easy to train yourself to do that. But then you're aware of which direction is your finger going. I can do that also just by taking the pencil and hovering the pencil above it and say, which way is that tilting? What do I mean by which way is it going? Which way is it tilting? And where does it go? And so then we see that this bird's head is really tilted like this. So why not make a line? Just explore just the movement, not necessarily trying to get the bird right now. Just find out about the movement. And I'm looking at just the overall tilt. I'm not looking at the edges here. Yes, this edge goes this way, this edge goes this way, this one goes that way. But the overall, where is it looking? How's it tilted? Where is it looking? And then how is the body positioned? What direction is that going? And if you see what happens here? We can see that as at an angle, and it goes something like that. And we can see that is actually that movement, that motion is connected here. So why not just imitate that movement? That would be something like that. And so how far do you go? Well, just let your intuition work for you. You don't have to count. You don't have to measure, although it is possible to measure. You could measure from here to here and then go something like that. And you could see but you don't have to do that. Trust your intuition, first of all. And then, if we're looking at just the back of the general position of that bird, and we say that, well, it looks like the position of the tail is moving in that same direction too. Now, or is it? Is it tilted just a little bit? And they find out. So I can go like this. Aha! It's not necessarily going in the same direction, because see, if I continue in that direction, you see how this tilts this way just a little bit? I found out something else about the bird. And so in that sense, it doesn't tilt very much, but it does that. Now you see, that gives you something of the gesture of the bird. It tells you something if you learn that, or if you explore that. That's what I mean by explore and discover. If you explore this, then you discover that there's more tilt there than you thought, and that's part of what gives the bird its position, or the way we're looking at it. Now, that's just going through the image to do that sort of thing. We can add to that, and we can actually add it on top. But first of all, let's just consider just that. If you did nothing more but then just explore the general direction or the general movement that you find in images, that's your first step. So you see, you don't have to trace edges. You don't have to worry about getting edges right. Just discover the movement as a first step. Now that kind of thing is why I did the first step in the process I showed you in the quick tip that we're referring to earlier. It's discover what's there. Now once I discover what's there, I'll never forget it, because I have it in my mind right now that tilt is going, the tilt of the head is going like that, the tilt of the body is going like that, and the tail is slightly tilted in a different direction. Once you discover it for yourself, you don't forget it. Now, so that's one. And then the other I've shown you many, many times in various quick tips and in lessons. The other is exploring which direction those edges are going. Explore the movement of the edges. Now what I mean by that, I mean that this seems to be curving slightly like that. That's the movement of the edge. That is gesture. Gesture is so important because it shows the life in things. And I could actually here, after I make this just a little diagram exploring the general movement, general tilt, then I could begin to explore just the edges. And I'm not talking just about outside edges. An edge is any kind of division of space. So I could explore the outside edges and the inside edges. And you've seen me do that before. But the idea is to, and I hope I'm not out of the camera's range here, but I'll just take this tilt right here. Okay, the tilt, I'll just pull it down here. The tilt is that, and what's causing that tilt, we see that edge is slightly curving. You see, it has a slight curve here. And if I do this with my pencil just in the air, that's what I call phantom drawing. I'm exploring how it's tilting, how it's curving, and where it's going. And I see that it is doing something like that. You see, you can take one edge at a time and just take that attitude. You're not trying to make a drawing. You're just exploring. You're trying to discover what's there. And the wonderful thing about that, any gesture drawing seems just like scribble to most people. But when you take this attitude of moving step by step, and why not go slow? You don't have to go real fast, but let your hand move when you explore the movement. Let your hand move with a rhythm rather than trying just to get it right. The point is not to get it right. The point is to discover it, to find it. And if you discover it and find it, you're going to get it right. See the psychology there? So we switch our attitudes. We switch our attitudes from just trying to get things right to finding out what's there. And when we find out what's there, it's very easy then to allow our pencil to follow what's there and see, I find that going down this way. I find this going this way. Now you see, this is all following that general direction that I discovered at the very beginning. So if you will just take those two exercises, no more. I don't need to go through the whole thing now that I've shown you the process. But if you take those two exercises, first exploring just the general inside overall movement, direction, where is it going, how various parts tilting away from each other are they following the same direction? And then within that, explore the edges like you saw me doing there. And you've seen me do that in other tips. And we have that chat. We have the recording of the chat we did called Just Draw. I believe it's what we called it. So you can go to our channel page and click on live in the channel page and find that chat. And you can see I carry you all the way through that attitude of discovering. I think you will find lots of joy and fun in drawing if you simply just break it, just get rid of this whole business of I gotta make it perfect, or I gotta get it right, and allow yourself to go with the rhythm of what you discover. You'll find it's very easy. You can do it. Everybody can do it. It's just a matter of doing it. Give that a try and see what happens. Be sure and view all of our quick tips. And while you're doing so, subscribe to the channel, click on the bell so you'll always get a notice when we produce a new quick tip, which is every week. And if you have a question, leave it in the comments section and we'll make a quick tip for you. Also, take a trip over to DianeMize.com where I have full-length lessons, downloads, DVDs, lots of other stuff there, some free stuff for you. And while you're there, you can subscribe to the newsletter, and that way you'll always be informed every time we do something new.